Hey guys, if you like to catch a lot of fish, get a lot of bites, fish that are easy to catch, pretty easy to find, and actually taste pretty good, I'm going to show you how to do that today on Wheeler Lake, and it's white bass. Pound for pound, about as fun to catch as anything that swims in fresh water. So guys, don't go anywhere. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hey guys, Crispin Pally guest hosting for Barry, and this week I am coming to you from Wheeler Lake. It's an impoundment of the Tennessee River. It's in Alabama. It is 60 miles long, about 67,000 acres. It's the second largest lake in the state of Alabama. It is technically the Tennessee River, however, which makes it feel like home to me in my heart. But what we're going to do here today, I've fished Wheeler several times throughout my lifetime fishing bass tournaments, but one of the biggest phenomenons that I've always heard about here is the spectacular white bass run. Throughout parts of the country, it's a real popular deal, but we're going to break it down for you how we do it here on the Tennessee River on Lake Wheeler. We're also going to get your local fishing reports from our insider reporters. So while we're getting everything rigged up, gonna get some white bass stuff tied on, I'm gonna send you back to the FSN studio for your weekend update.
A check of these Salooner tables reveals Saturday as the best time to be on the water for fishing over the weekend. Conditions are listed as good, with peak times in the middle of the night and also in the afternoon, beginning at 1:37 on Saturday and 2:36 on Sunday. Expect the sun to rise at 6:52 and set at 8:01. Nighttime fishing should be nice and bright with the full moon. We'll be right back to check all of the current fishing reports from throughout the area. And I'll return with Bassmaster Elite Angler Mark Daniels Jr. on this week's Ask the Pro feature. Stick with us.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Request our free 2019 fishing guide at orangebeach.com.
Pretty nice white bass right there on that 3XD crankbait. We're on the upper end of Wheeler Lake on the Tennessee River, and as I said, we're going to be looking for white bass today. The thing about it is there's a couple things that have to come together for them to really, for the fishing for them to really be good. You need current, which we certainly have. This lake is running about 124,000 cubic feet per second, which is a ton of current. You'll see it throughout the day. I mean, it's rolling. However, about a week ago, it was running 240 cubic feet per second here, which is double, obviously. The other thing you need, the magic part of the equation, is water temperature. The water temperature is in the mid-50s, and when it hits about 50 and you've got current, these white bass come from the lake up the river into the tributaries, and that's when they start thinking about the little spring baby time ritual. So we're going to ease out here. I'm going to run down to the first little creek mouth, first little current break, and I'm going to try to catch one or two real quick, kind of explain to you what we're looking for. Let's get going. This is a great illustration of just a textbook creek mouth. We're sitting out here in all this current. Then you've got that slack water in that creek and that eddy that's created there at the mouth. There's also a long, shallow point that runs out. If you can see, there's birds working around, which tells us there's a lot of bait here. Maybe a better one. Yeah, that's a lot better one. Pretty nice white bass right there on that 3XD crankbait. Tell you a little trick to this is first, try not to get hooked real bad, because they will flat do it. But oh golly, Bill, quit. Second, a lot of times if you're getting them to bump it, or you're not catching them, or you're not getting bites, if you'll just alter your retrieve, like stop it, start it, speed it up, slow it down, you'll trigger them to bite. They're really weird about that. That is one of those things, color change and changing up the rate of your retrieve, but that's a That's a really good white bass right there. They certainly get bigger, but like most things in life, I'll take that one every time.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with your Fox Sports Louisiana Outdoor Report, brought to you by Cajun Paradise Charters and Lodge, right here on Lake Calcasieu. I tell you what, we're going to start off with saltwater right now. Old Bill Lake down in the Houma area, he says trout and redfish both doing very good. Soft plastics and light jig heads. Tell you what, right here on Calcasieu, trout action picking up. Same basic scenario, soft plastics on light jig heads, and I tell you what, some redfish starting to show up in the marshes on gold spoons. Let's hit the freshwater theme now. Up on Lake Toledo Bend, lots of bass still getting caught, mostly in 4 to 8 foot of water, but I tell you what, there's still a few big ones on the beds and spawning. If you catch one of those, you need to be sure and let it go. White perch action, both on Caddo Lake and Toledo Bend, seem to be doing very good on light tube jigs and live shiners in about 4 to 8 foot of water. I tell you what, y'all want to make a trip down there to Lake Calcasieu, give old Cajun Phil or Captain Kevin a call. Happy fishing, may God bless. We're going to see you next week.
Another little one. They are some hard fighting, hard pulling little fish. One of the things to know about these fish is a lot of fish, when you grab them by the mouth, it kind of paralyzes them. It does not do that to these. And they've got these little gill plates right here, and they are like little mini razor blades. They will eat you up. Oh no, can't tell. That's a good one. That's another good one. Got that front hook again like I was talking about. This is one of them dangerous ones. Let's see if I can't, it's big enough you can lip it. There, I feel a little bit better now. Tell you a little thing about the white bass that you need to know. The reason they're up here is these fish are unique. Can you see that, what that fish is dripping? That would make me think that is probably a male fish. Let me explain what's going on. So the males move up in an area first, and unlike other bass, largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass, where the female will come up there, a male will go into an area and kind of hunt it out and get all the predators out of the way. These fish do the same thing. The males come up and just hunt out an area and keep everything run off, and then the females come in, where largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass females build a nest and lay eggs, and the male fertilizes them. A female white bass will actually lay her eggs in the current and they will tumble. But they've got this little sticky substance on them that makes them stick to rocks and clay and hard surface that they need to spawn. And then the males will follow them in there and actually fertilize that area. And the current will carry what they fertilize the eggs with down through there. And that is why they're up here right now. That is where they're at in their annual routine. So that was a male, a good male. That was a better than average male. But your males come in first, then your bigger females come in after that. So it's pretty cool. If you're catching a bunch of little ones, you know by odds are they're males. Could get into bigger ones, odds are they're females. There's a lot of ways you can prepare them, but they're good, firm meat, especially when you're catching them in cool water. Could be a good one. Could be another small, mean one. No, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Or a real good, mean one. That's a pretty good fish. Hey, I'm gonna tell you another thing about these fish that don't get talked about a lot. They're pretty undervalued table fare. There's a lot of ways you can prepare them, but they're good, firm meat, especially when you're catching them in cool water. a lot of people like to cut them, leave the skin on them, and lay them on the grill like white bass on a half shell. They really are good to eat. They're one of those fish that's kind of got a reputation as just kind of one of those. But do not let that keep you from trying these, because I'm telling you, if I wasn't in a hurry and to get back home and it wasn't gonna be late when I got there, and if I wasn't gonna get hung in this tree, I'd be feeling alive well for these suckers, cleaning them, we'd be eating them.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by the good folks at Fiberworks Marine Collision. When you want the work done right, you want the work done fast, and at a reasonable price, call Fiberworks. Now this week we're going to start in the eastern portion of our state at Lake Palestine, and specifically Flat Creek. You'll find bass in all three stages of the spawn, post, spawn, and pre-spawn up in Flat Creek. And you can use a variety of baits. That's what's so great about this time of year. Fish your favorite method, whether it's a Texas rig lizard, a topwater, a spinnerbait, or a Cinco, and you're sure to catch some Palestine bass. Now at Lake Buchanan, stripers will be following the shad as they spawn along the banks. That means topwaters for big stripers. You can throw your pencil poppers and your big spooks. Be sure and use heavy line for this approach at Buchanan. If that topwater bite slows down as the sun gets higher in the sky, back off a little and go with your standard either live bait or slab spoon approach for these big stripers on Buchanan. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by the good folks at Fiberworks Marine Collision. And remember, check us out, Lone Star Lakes, on Facebook.
Hey, it wasn't very far back that we were talking about small creeks like this being about ready to bust wide open for white bass fishing. Well, that time is here. Whether you fish from the bank or a boat, now's the time to try to get into the very upper ends of these creeks and small rivers, have a little bit of water flow, looking for those white bass that are moving in there to spawn. Light line, light lures. A couple of my favorites, the Bobby Garland Stroller in bluegrass color, and also the Slab Hunter Minnow in threadfin shad color. Two lakes to get on your calendar right now. One is Lake Eufaula. The crappie fishing remains really good at Eufaula, especially the southern half of the lake. Best colors have been pennyback, gumdrop, black and chartreuse, black and hot pink, white and chartreuse. The southern half has been really good, and now the northern half is starting to heat up. That's going to follow closely behind what's been happening down south on Lake Eufaula. Those fish are in anywhere from 5 foot of water up to the bank. Waves of crappie are moving in and out to spawn, so just look for those spawning type areas, fish in and around them. Another lake to put on your calendar is Worcester. The bass fishing is good there at Worcester right now. Think shallows for the bass fishing at Worcester. Crappie fishing, we talked last year about really some big crappie coming from Worcester. Now's the time to target those. Think the same thing. Fish close to your spawning areas. Check the bank line. Check out in front of those to the closest brush structure, whether stumps or brush piles. Fishing in Oklahoma is good right now in the springtime, and you can catch them, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
We'll be right back in just a moment. First, though, we want to pass along some of your big catch of the week photos. These entries didn't win, but we still wanted to share some of the great fish catches from around the area. Be sure to stick around for this week's winner at the end of today's show. We're coming right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lou's. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland, the best in bass and crappie lures, heads to tails. Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades. Balls Out, made in the USA. Heavy-duty mounts for your fish finders.
I mean, what an incredible way to get a kid introduced to fishing. There's a good one. Nope. Man, the thing about these suckers, let me tell you something that you need to know about white bass. They are probably the meanest fish pound for pound that swims. I say there's a good one every time I set the hook on one, because them little suckers fight, they shake their heads, they don't give up easy. A cool thing about them, I haven't fished for them a whole lot admittedly, but what an incredible way to take a kid. I mean, They've been out here an hour and I've caught 30 already. I mean, what an incredible way to get a kid introduced to fishing, or somebody that just hadn't fished a lot. If you want to take them somewhere where they get a lot of bites, it's an awesome way to do that. There's one. That's a pretty good one right there. That's a chunk, boys and girls. That is a toad. For here, there's places where they catch them bigger. Around this part of the world, that's about as big a one as you're gonna get. One of the things I want to tell you about these, just kind of to take note of, if you're gonna go out and try to catch these at your home waters, my advice as a long-time white bass fisherman, as of about 3 hours ago, light colors, white colors, bright colors, white, chartreuse, orange, pink, red, they just seem to bite those bright colors better. And a lot of times you're catching them in current, so you're going to have a little more color to the water. I actually caught that one. There's a pretty defined mud line down through here, and that's where that fish came out of. So I would say if you want to go out and start from ground zero, get you some bright colored soft plastics or hard baits. That's the way to go. They like chrome too, so like a little chrome 1/4 ounce red eye shad, pretty good way to catch them. But that right there is a tank.
Hey folks, Captain Greg Varm here with this week's Fox Southwest Outdoors Report. Hey, we're going to start this week's report down in Port Mansfield in Lower Laguna Madre. Hey, I just got off the phone with Captain Wayne Davis. He said the higher spring tides, speckled trout have moved up on the flats where they're staging in the potholes and along the grass lines. Now when the winds are down, Captain Wayne Davis said he is having some amazing catches along the western side of the bay. Now when fishing shallow, the Kelly Wiggler Willowtails have been the absolute #1 go-to bait. Out in the deeper water, the K-Wiggler Balltail Shad is the hot ticket. These baits come in a variety of colors and they're all working awesome. Captain Wade said the water temps are touching 78 in the afternoon. Hey, so weight wetting, it's right around the corner. Now let's move to Baffin Bay and the Yarborough area. Captain Chris Elliott, he says the water temps are heating up and the speckled trout and redfish are cranking up. Loud top orders are working best early in the morning. Once that sun comes up, Captain Chris Elliott said, get those K-Wigglers out and throw that Balltail Shad. Concentrate on your flats near a good drop-off is the key. Now those redfish, hey, they're showing up on the flats and they're eating virtually anything you want to throw at them. Hey, this week's report, it's brought to you by Fishing Tackle Unlimited, inshore, offshore, and everything in between. Also the home of the famous FTU Green Rod. Hey, check out their online store. Also 3 locations on the Gulf Freeway, Katy, and Sugar Land. Hey, I'm Captain Greg Varm. I'll see y'all next time.
That's a toadzilla right there. Hammer. Come here. That's a big sucker. I'm telling you, kind of got a pattern going here, and it is that I'm not catching them right in the mouths of creeks, but I'm catching them upstream, and they are all, if I get my boat in deeper than 10 feet of water, I can't get a bite. But you get in less than 10 feet and get upstream from the mouth of one of these cuts or creeks, and you catch these big females. So that's a hammer right there.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and the follow button on Twitter, and watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free Waypoint TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide's wireless and easy to use XI3, Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist, Strike King, Taiwan On, and Tracker Boats, America's best-selling fishing boats.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get right to your Ask the Pro question for this week. Rusty wants to know, what is the worst mistake most anglers make that causes them to lose a big fish? For an answer, we asked Bassmaster Elite Angler Mark Daniels Jr.
You know, everybody gets excited when you hook a big bass or a fish that feels strong. You know, you think you got something really, really big, and I think a lot of people try to get the fish to the boat too soon. A lot of these fish are what we call hot. You know, you need to let them run and kind of burn a little bit of that energy, so then that way you can take control of the fight. A lot of people want to get a fish in a boat, I mean, right now. And in some cases you can do that, but a lot of times you lose that fish. And so if you avoid rushing the bass to the boat, you'll increase your catch ratio by a lot. I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot.
Thank you, Mark. If you want some help from one of the pros, simply go to foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit a question. Now it's time to find out who wins this week's Big Catch of the Week.
It's time for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. This week's winner is Thomas DeStefano of San Angelo, Texas, with a whopper 12-pound largemouth bass he caught at Twin Butte Lake in Texas. To enter the contest, go to foxsportsoutdoors.com. Click on the Big Catch of the Week box on the right side of the homepage to send in your big fish photo, or simply post your photo on our Facebook page. You could have your big fish shown here on our show. Here's the gear you need to go out here and catch these white bass on Wheeler Lake, or probably on your lake. I'd say the gear is pretty much across the board. Just about every fish, all the big fish I caught today came on this Strike King 3XD, and that is in the splatterback color number 570. It is just an incredible shad imitating color. It's got a lot of white, and I think that orange belly really helps in that dirtier water. And to throw that small crankbait, you've got to have the right rod and reel set up. This is my favorite Lew's reel. It's called the Hyper Mag. It's a Team Lew's Hyper Mag, and this is the new TP1 Black. It's a 6/8 medium heavy, and it is just a perfect setup to make long cast or to make finesse cast around stuff, and it handles those fish really well. You get this gear right here, you go where white bass live, I'll guarantee you'll put them in the boat. You know, every time I come out here and I film a show, I fish a tournament, I take somebody fishing, I always put so much pressure on myself, and it revolves around the result. It's always about the end result. Work's about the end result. You know, as a kid in school, your grades are about the end result. But let me tell you something. If you get out, take a look around, take a deep breath, and just take it all in, all that God's given us just to experience and to find happiness in and have pleasure in, I think you'll find that there's a lot of things that are not about the result. They're not about the destination. They're about the journey. One of my favorite sayings on earth is, I don't need more to be thankful for. I just need to be more thankful. And I think that just exemplifies how we should live our lives. And just get out, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy nature, enjoy the people around you. That's stuff that matters. Thanks for hanging out with me today here on Wheeler Lake. I had a blast catching these white bass, and I hope that you learned something that you can apply where you fish to catch them as well. Until then, God bless.